Hello and welcome to World in 5. Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe Governor John Mushayabanu anticipates the recently introduced ZiG currency to maintain its value and further strengthen over the next months as demand for the domestic unit firms. Governor Mushayabanu says demand for the ZiG will be driven by corporates who are required to settle part of their tax obligations in the local currency. He implored fuel traders and other merchants to accept payments in ZiG, among other currencies. He was speaking earlier today on ZIM Star FM, where he gave his first radio interview since assuming office last month.
We are in a multi-currency regime. There is nothing stopping a fuel dealer selling their fuel partly in ZiG and partly in any other currency. If the fuel dealer is not selling a fuel in ZiG, they will find themselves in a situation where they are looking for ZiG come June, July, because they are also a taxpayer and they are supposed to pay 50% of their tax in ZiG. So if they are not selling their products in ZiG, where are they going to get the ZiG from? And I have to warn them that when we get to June and July, the rate for ZiG may strengthen such that they will actually be losing out. So if I were a fuel dealer today, I would start selling some of my fuel in ZiG and some of my fuel in US dollars, because we are in a multi-currency arrangement.
In a related issue, a group of 12 suspected money changers have appeared at Bulawayo Magistrates Court over allegations of illegal foreign currency dealings. The group was arrested last week and initially appeared in court on April 24 before their matter was deferred to yesterday.
They are, however, not being charged as a collective but are appearing as individuals before Bulawayo Magistrate Mr. Shepard Munjanja, and they are facing charges of contravening the exchange control regulations which prohibit unlicensed dealing in foreign currency. So from what we have managed to gather from the courts, it is alleged that these suspects were found with varied amounts of foreign currency in varied denominations displayed at their different places of operation around the city, especially at a place that is popularly known as the World Bank here in Bulawayo, which is ironically very much close to the Bulawayo Magistrates Court, which are housed at the Trade Gold buildings. This is where they usually operate from, have been remanded in custody, where they have been given different dates to make their court appearances. And I may remind you of his recent visit, speaking to us during an interview here in Bulawayo. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe Governor, Mr. John Mushayabanu, said that the law will take its course on all illegal money changers whom he has said were pushing black market rates high across the country. So this is all in line with what government has been saying, that they are going to crack down on all illegal forex dealers countrywide.
Now moving on, Vice President Constantino Chiwenga says Zimbabwe will be ready to host the SADC summit in August. He was speaking after touring key infrastructure today to see progress that has been made. The country hosts the 44th edition of the SADC summit, with President Emmerson Mnangagwa taking over as chairperson of the regional bloc.
Great progress has been made by Instac, and I have been to see where the hotel is going to be constructed, the museum itself is going to be constructed, the Defense Forces stand. We are on course, and we are pushing in funding so that a few number of things that require to be done before we get to the summit in August are completed. And we have also passed it through the shopping mall to see the progress which has been achieved. And now we are at the heritage village, which is going to be one of the venues hosting so many functions.
As part of the government's inclusivity campaign, 32 people with disabilities in Mashonaland Central underwent a 5-day digital skills training program spearheaded by the Postal Telecommunication Regulatory Authority of Zimbabwe. So far, 219 people with disabilities have been trained since the inception of the program. The project is set to benefit over 300 people by end of this year. POTRAZ Deputy Director of Postal and Career Services, Tichafa Mujuru, said Mashonaland Central is the 6th province to benefit from the training program as part of its overall national campaign.
Had 32 participants, which brings to 219 the number of people with disabilities who have been trained since we started last year. Last year alone, we trained about 127 people, and our target for this year is 210 participants. And this should bring the total to 337 by the end of this year.
A 19-year-old man has been sentenced to 14 months in prison for having sex with his 14-year-old sister. The state proved that sometime in January last year, the man was alone at home with his sister and he proposed love to her, and they both agreed to keep their affair secret. The two indulged in sexual relations on a number of occasions, and the matter came to light when the sister fell pregnant. She was asked by her grandmother who was responsible for the pregnancy, and she confided in her grandmother that it was her brother, leading to his arrest. He was served 12 months effectively after 2 months were suspended. A scorching heat wave hit most parts of Bangladesh last month, with the country experiencing its hottest April on record. The Bangladesh Meteorological Department said this year the heat wave covered around 80% of the country, and such an unbroken and expansive heat wave has never been seen before. Due to the stifling heat, the country's education ministry has closed schools nationwide for 2 weeks starting from April 20, resulting in an estimated 32 million students staying at home to attend online classes.
It's disgustingly hot in this temperature because we have never experienced this type of weather beforehand. In this situation, we should avoid the time period from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. because that's like the time where it's mostly...
Now that's all we had in World in 5. A very good afternoon.